Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. So today we're going to continue with a little bit of a theme here dealing with the COVID-19 situation. And we're going to talk more about general entrepreneurship and how you can make this quarantine work for you. I know a lot of us right now, I myself, have been kind of figuring out, okay, what am I going to do for the next month? Because I'm incredibly less busy than I normally am because there's not a lot of networking to be done. There's not a lot of errands that I'm out running trying to accomplish because a lot of places are closed. So I've really been home and I'm like, there's got to be more I can do. So today we're going to talk a little bit about quarantine, about how to keep yourself primed, how to keep yourself motivated, and what are some of the good things that you can accomplish right now during quarantine that'll make you that much more successful on the other side of this. Welcome to the Passive Income Revolution podcast, where we help you create the life that you dream of. Whether it's through real estate, entrepreneurship, or just savvy investing, we're here to help you make that dream life a reality. No matter if it's that yacht in the ocean or just a little extra time with your kids, we're here to help you. The reality is, none of us knows for sure when this is going to end. All of our states have stay-at-home orders, safer-at-home orders in place right now. Most of them do. But the thing is, those orders, they have an expiration date, but that doesn't mean that they're going to expire then. That's just a tentative date. They could be extended. Now, of course, that's a scary thing in its own right. But if we're focusing on the here and now, what are some of the ways that we can use this time to be more constructive for ourselves, more efficient in our businesses, and help other people get through this as well? So I've got a list here of about 8 different points that I think would be really helpful for all of us to think about and even to try and put into place during this quarantine time. Part of this is about staying sharp, making sure we're still keeping our eye on the ball and making sure we're still propelling ourselves forward. But the other portions of it are just about being a good daughter, a good sister, a brother, son, cousin, whatever you may have, whatever you are to somebody. So these are going to cover various ways that we can help make our lives better during this time when everything seems a little bit more chaotic and we're all stuck with social distancing. As entrepreneurs, we're being given a gift that seems to be coming in a pretty shitty gift bag. I mean, let's be honest. This is not how any of us wanted to have 2020 start out in the first quarter, was to be told, well, you're going to have to put your businesses on hold. You're going to have to stay at home. Maybe your business is going to have to shut down. It's not what any of us wanted. It's being dealt a really crummy hand. But that doesn't mean that there isn't a good silver lining to it. One of the things I am doing right now is I'm doing an off-field advantage look at my operations. So right now, when everything is really rather slow and I have more time on my hands, I'm going back in my calendar and I'm looking at all the ways that I was spending my time. Was I spending it efficiently? Was I doing things that maybe, now that I look back, I really didn't need to be putting that much effort into that? Are there things that I should have been doing that I wasn't? But even more importantly, I'm looking at my business operations as a whole. Where are some of the places that I can improve? Was my social media strategy really not working when I pivoted at the beginning of this year? Are there things in our operations that I could make more efficient that even when this ban is lifted, maybe we should keep because it makes us more efficient? Let's take the opportunity to have this sort of off-field advantage perspective on our businesses and look back at what we were doing to operate them and pinpoint ways and places that we can improve. A lot of entrepreneurs say you should do this, at least once a year, but in reality, it's hard to do that because there's so much noise usually still going on. There's only so much noise that we can silence from the outside world. Well, right now, when the outside world is basically silencing it for us, is a great time to have a moment to reflect on how you operate your business, who you work with, what you do with your time and to really gain a true perspective on the efficiency and the direction that you're headed. Maybe you'll look back and notice that, wow, we really didn't have a direction for the last year. Then that's what you should spend your time during quarantine doing, is figuring out what that direction needs to be. Maybe when you reflect upon it, you see ways that you could have been more efficient, things that you were doing that maybe they weren't actually helping you as much as they thought they would. This is the time to program yourself to take those things out of your schedule and replace them with other things that'll be more fruitful. I said I've looked back at our business operations, and one of the things that I've looked back on is how we do our leasing procedure, how we go about advertising our rentals, how we go about processing the application, getting them to sign a lease, and getting them moved into the unit. This is something that I've actually decided we're going to revamp permanently. So there's some things that we have done in response to this virus that have been temporary. But now, as I'm looking back from my off-field advantage, I'm realizing that some of the things we're doing now can present a strategic advantage for us when we're looking at leasing out these places. One of the things that we're going to keep doing is we're going to keep doing our lease signings via Zoom, Skype, whatever program I decide to keep. And we're going to do web conferences with our new tenants to go over the leases. Now you might be thinking, why on earth would you do that? Why not just do it in person at the unit or at your office? Well, even after this is done, one of the things I'm realizing is how much more convenient it is for a prospective tenant to log on to a Zoom call from their home than try and get out of work early so that they can come to the office during office hours, or so that they can get a babysitter so that they can actually come to the office and leave their child behind. This way, they don't have to necessarily ask off for work. They can still be with their kids. They can be in another room watching a movie, watching a TV show during the 30 minutes that we spend going over the lease with them. And we're still getting our advantage, which is being able to impress upon them certain aspects of the lease that we want to make sure they understand. So that is one way that my off-field advantage has given me a perspective on how to improve the way we operate our business. I recently got a tip from Ed Mylett in one of his podcasts that we should be operating our days as if they are 6 hours. So as entrepreneurs, we tend to fill up our day from anywhere from 7 a.m. until 6 p.m., 7 p.m., and we basically end up working 12-hour days. The strategy that Ed Mylett is talking about is planning 6-hour days. So you plan a 6-hour block of your day where you have things back to back to back, and you're trying to be as efficient as you can with your schedule. Now, his 6-hour day isn't just work. That 6-hour portion that he's talking about, it includes getting his workout in, family time if it falls during that 6 hours. The idea of it is to look at your day as 2 6-hour segments. So you have one 6-hour segment and you fill that up with whatever needs to be done. And then you look at the second segment and you fill up those 6 hours. And you work as if you only have those 6 hours. So whatever 6 hours you're in, that's all the 6 hours you've got. And it focuses you to go from one task to the other without necessarily getting involved in the distractions we get sidetracked with because we think we have more time. I'm a person who is absolutely prone to this. I might plan my day to go anywhere from 8 until 4, 5, 6 p.m. and I'll have it pretty full, but then I'll have in the back of my head, well, I've got all day. So I will go and I'll do this little thing for 5 minutes, which 5 minutes becomes 10 minutes and 10 minutes becomes 15 minutes. And the next thing I know, I'm actually more behind in my day. I'm starting the 6-hour scheduling now, and the 6 hours I schedule it out and I act as if there's a hard end to my day. Meaning that once this 6 hours is up, this is all I've got for this today. There's no trying to catch up then. I'll be in a really bad situation if I don't get through these 6 hours and get it done. So far for me, the past couple days, it's worked out pretty well. I will admit that because there isn't as much going on right now, that it's really about like an 8-hour block that I run. But it's still getting me in the habit of creating these 6-hour blocks and acting as if those things are the only items that exist in my entire world at that moment. Now we're going to switch gears for a couple minutes and actually talk more about things on the personal side of life. One of the best things that you can do right now is check in on people. We're so holed up in our homes, we're not used to being separated from people, that it's really important to take the time to check in on other people. And we're not just talking about your immediate family. So it's not just your brother, your sister, your parents, but go beyond that usual circle and go to your aunts and your uncles, your grandparents, your friends, your cousins. Take a few moments out of your day, every single day, to touch base with someone right now, just to see how they're doing, just to see how they're handling the quarantine. Maybe it's a Facebook message. Maybe it's some sort of message on Instagram. Really, the most heartfelt way you can do it is something that has your voice to it, either a Instagram voice message or an actual phone call, if we remember that our phones can actually make phone calls, people. I mean, I know this seems like groundbreaking, but remember that phones first started out for making phone calls. So I'm pretty sure that the phone you have right now can do it as well. But take a few moments each day to reach out to people. One thing I did last night was actually sit on my living room couch and I wrote out 3 handwritten cards to send to random people that are on my Christmas list, my near and dear. So 3 people are going to get a nice little surprise in the mail when normally the mail is full of crap and people don't really have a lot of contact with other people. I'm hoping this is really going to brighten their day. And it's my way of checking in on them and making sure they know that I haven't forgotten about them, that they aren't forgotten about. One thing I've definitely learned during this quarantine time is how important it is to actually schedule family time. When we go to fill out our calendars as entrepreneurs, usually we don't schedule the family time. If we have an event like a child's school play or a graduation or a basketball game, we're really good at putting those in the calendar because, well, that's an appointment that we don't want to miss, and that actually is an event with a time frame. But we hesitate to schedule family time outside of that. Like there's something unfeeling or mechanical about scheduling movie night with our family or scheduling game night with our family. Somehow we feel if we put it in the calendar like an appointment, it takes away some of the zing and the emotions behind it. Just because we put it in our calendar doesn't mean we change the emotions behind it. And then if we're not scheduling it, we often end up missing it. We get so caught up in other things and following our schedule that sometimes we forget to put our family first. So what I'm going to start doing now is every week when I plan my schedule, I'm going to start with filling in the family time that I want. I'm going to start with filling in when I want to see my parents, when I want to see my siblings, when I want to have a date night with my husband. And those are going to be the first things that go on my calendar every single week. On a similar note, I'm also going to be scheduling my leisure activities. So I'm going to start scheduling in my leisure reading. I love reading. I'm a bibliophile. I tend to read classic novels. I've talked about that at one point on the podcast. So I'm going to be sure and schedule that time. I'm also going to schedule time for the things I tend to put off for when I have time, and that's for watching YouTube videos about industry and entrepreneurship. I subscribe to a lot of channels, but I don't actually end up watching most of the daily videos. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to schedule a 15-minute block each morning where I'm watching a specific business, real estate, entrepreneurship YouTubers weekly upload or particular daily upload if they've got a daily schedule. But these are the things that I'm going to be sure that are scheduled in my schedule. I want them to be in there to be sure that they remind me to do those things. Because otherwise, if they're not in there and I leave my schedule blank where maybe my day ends at 6, I might think and have the attention of, well, after 6, I will watch this video from Ryan Serhant, or I will get in an hour or a chapter of reading Portrait of a Lady. But in reality, it usually doesn't end up that way. So I'm going to start scheduling my leisure activities in my calendar as well, just as if they were those appointments I was just talking about, like a basketball game with a niece or a school play with a child. I'm going to schedule those in there as if they are actually true appointments and not just leave them to be done in the white spaces on my calendar. During this quarantine time when gyms are closed, it might be really difficult to get your workout in. Maybe you just don't like working out without machines. Maybe you really like the act of going to the gym. Maybe it's the going to the gym that gets you motivated. Well, we still need to figure out ways to get our bodies moving during this quarantine time when we tend to all be sitting at home more. Now, you don't necessarily have to try and fit in that 35, 45-minute workout. If you can just fit in spurts of 5 to 10 minutes throughout the day, that will be enough to keep your body going on a baseline level. Because otherwise, if we aren't doing these little spurts of exercise throughout the day, and we're just maybe going for one walk a day, and the rest of the time we're just not doing anything like we normally would, it's going to be really easy for our bodies to get out of shape. So what you want to do is have 5 to 10 minute spurts throughout the day. Maybe a good practice to get into is to do one every single hour. So you work on something for 45 minutes and then you have about 5 to 10 minutes where you're getting your blood flowing. Maybe it is cleaning your bathroom. Maybe it's emptying out your car. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's doing a quick video on YouTube that is a fitness video. Whatever you choose to do. But figure out some way to get 5 to 10 minutes in consistently throughout the week to keep your body at least at a base level of fitness. Because otherwise what can easily happen is by the time 30, 40 days roll around and the quarantine is over, you would be surprised at how much endurance you've lost and how much muscle mass you've begun to lose as well. But yet even beyond that, it's a great way to keep ourselves happy. There's an interesting idea out there that, in essence, if you are someone who consistently moves your body, it's hard for you to be depressed. Like, I don't quite understand the science behind this, but there's so many journal studies out there that show that people that exercise consistently are more happy because the act of exercising brings out endorphins and other chemicals in our body that actually make it harder for us to be unsatisfied even when we're not working out. So there really is science behind body movement being happiness. So be sure to keep your body moving because it's gonna help you keep your mentality positive and keep yourself happy overall when honestly everything else in the world seems a little shit right now. Let's be honest. The last 2 items, we're going to transition back into entrepreneurship. Let's talk about charity and your why. Now is a great time to figure out what your why is. The most successful entrepreneurs and companies have clearly identified what their why is and what their purpose is for what they're doing. And the reason that they're so successful is not necessarily because they have the why, but it's what the why does for them. If you're a solo entrepreneur, your why is your motivation. It's the reason that you've chosen to strike out on your own. It's the reason that drove you to build the business that you're building. If you're a company, it's why you've chosen to set up yourself to be different from other people. Why are you doing this compared to XYZ that are your competitors? And this will help motivate you. It'll help motivate your staff. And it'll help everyone keep their eye on the ball down the road because they know why they're doing this. But even on a higher level, when you have a why that is written on paper and it's professed to the public, people relate to it. They read your why and they're like, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of that company. I want to come along for their journey. I want to be part of their ride. Your why can be a great marketing tool in your belt. Now, your why can be charity. I said we were going to talk charity. So maybe your why is you build this company because you want to support the American Cancer Society, or you want to support the local animal shelter. That can be your why. That's fine. As far as me, my why for why I am in real estate, and particularly why I chose to start a property management company, is because I didn't want other investors to have the same horrible experience that some of my immediate family members had when they hired property managers. My why was because I didn't want other people to go through what my family did when they hire property managers. That's what motivates me to create the company Brio Properties, where we focus not only on operating the portfolios efficiently, but we also focus on open and honest communication with our owners. We always want there to be an open door policy between our clients and ourselves. We want them to always feel like they can call us to ask something, to verify something. And we, at the same, want to be able to come to them when we need a little bit of assistance. Sure, our job is to operate it without them, but every once in a while, we want them to be involved and just be aware of what we're doing. So I've chosen to operate this company where we have a heavy emphasis on communicating with our owners. That is the cornerstone of this company, is open communication with our clients. And that is my why. My why has bled in to what of the main values of my company is, and it has truly set us apart from our competitors. It really has, because I've had clients come over to us who have been with our competitors and have said how nice it is that when they call, that they're not a distraction for us. We're not viewed as something that's interrupting their day. When they send us an email, they like the quick response. They like the open and honest communication that we send them an email to give them a heads up on what's going on. My why has created something that has made us different in the market, and it's attracted people to us. So take a few moments in this quiet time to figure out what your why is, and put that why into your business. Now, this last item was actually brought to my attention by my sister. She had mentioned that right now, when our schedules are relatively empty and we don't have the pressures to go around and do things, now is the great time to start making new habits. And the sooner you do it into this quarantine, the more likely you are to succeed with it. See, the idea is that we have less distractions and less obligations right now. Whereas normally it might be really hard to remember to make that new habit because we have so much going on. Right now, when there's less people telling us where to go and what to do, and we maybe have more freedom over our time, now is the time to start making the habits that you want to keep when we come out on the flip side of these quarantines. So if you've been wanting to get in that regular workout schedule, maybe if it's just getting it in consistently 4 days a week, and maybe it's not necessarily doing it every day at a certain time, Now is the time to get in that habit. If you've always wanted to try to increase your water intake, focus on that right now. Program yourself to get used to drinking water during this time where everything's a little less busy. Did you want to remember or focus on reading more? Did you want to focus more on a musical talent that you have? Now is the time to schedule that, to make it a habit. Make your habits now when life is less busy, and it will be easier for you to keep them when life is busy and crazy again, because eventually it will be. Sure, for the first couple months, maybe even 6 months, there'll be a little bit of a different tone to our lives, but eventually we'll go back to the normal hecticness that we all were running at full pace before everything got shut down. So take this time to build the habits that you have been trying to make before, but you weren't succeeding. Because chances are right now, you will have more success with building those habits.